However, I must also register my disappointment in some of the ministers. I've heard their comments, and some of the political operatives. Fire cannot be politicized. We want to remind the minister, he has a big portfolio in agriculture, and people in the agriculture sector are suffering, and I think he should focus on that. Also, I must note, the Sandika, especially in Serakunda, which is a council property, cannot continue to be where it is. I also want to make it a point. In 2018, when we came into office, we had identified 7 markets around the municipality that we wanted to develop. And we had put this in a project document with a BOQ and requested from the Ministry of Lands to provide us with our title deeds, along with 40 other properties, including even this building. To date, after 5 years, not a single title has been released to the council.
Good morning, Your Worship Lord Mayor. Good morning, the CEO. Good morning, the press. Good morning, everybody. The purpose of the parade is in line with the current fire outbreaks at the market. As you are all aware that the council is not a profit-making institution. KMC is service delivery. People are paying tax, and the council is planning back to them by rendering essential services. And also part of our responsibility is to protect life and property. So with regards to the current outbreaks at the market, under the dynamic leadership of the Lord Mayor, Talib Ahmed Bensuda, deemed it prudent that the council have to react ASAP. First, the Sandika where it is located is decongested. So part of the programs, we are going to relocate the Sandika. But as of now, we will allow the vendors to be selling and playing their pallets and sell there. So the next thing is the council have a meeting with NAWEC yesterday, and they all endeavor to work hand in glove in future, because as you can see, most of the markets, the electric wirings are outdated. So it's like we are going to constitute a task force that will comprise the NAWEC, KMC, Gambia Police Force, SIS, and all the fire services and all the relevant stakeholders to review the wiring system in all the markets and the council installations, and also the NAWEC will come up there with their own recommendation as how to move on. So as you can see, the council have procured 44 fire extinguishers. We have almost 150 officers within the markets. So we are going to redeploy more to reinforce the markets. As you can see, because if there is any fire outbreak, our local securities at the market are the first respondent. So sometimes what happens is like the scenario at Latrikunda and at Serakunda. When fire ignite, when they call the police, especially I'm the first person to be called as chief of operation, I always call the Gambia Police Force and the fire and ambulance services, because 2 things. Gambia Police Force are there to protect life and property. Normally, if there are outbreaks, there are people there who are looters. So the essence of calling the task force is to protect lives and property. Fire service are the first respondent to any fire outbreaks. So this is why always these are the 2 people. We also endeavor with NAWEC that with henceforth, if there is any fire outbreak, we will both agree, we will constitute a task force committee that will work ASAP to establish the cause of the fire before any of the board institutions to go ahead with any press relief or to give any cause of the fire. So we thank the management, the council under the leadership of the Lord Mayor and the CEO, that we are ready to fight. We are here to represent the people, and we will fight to make sure to ensure to mitigate the risk of the fire in the market. Thank you very much. Thanks, sir.
All right. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Good morning to everyone present. I want to acknowledge the Deputy Commissioner of Police, Mr. Seini Sanyang. I want to acknowledge the Market Manager, Mr. Mudu Njai, and all the wonderful officers and security personnel of the Kanifing municipality. We have had tragic events during the month of Ramadan that has caused major damage and havoc to many of the vendors in the market. The first fire being in the Latrikunda Sabeji market. It happened on Sunday, 16th of March, 2025 at 1 a.m. when most of our residents were asleep and most of the market was vacant. I was called by the DCP to inform me during those early hours, and of course I verified with the market manager. The area in which was burnt is not a market property. It was a private residence or private plot of land rented to some market vendors that turned it into a sandika. That fire damaged 9 kiosks in that particular market, causing millions of dollars of damage of goods and property. We visited the scene and we established the facts. I was there with the Alkalolu, Mr. Kujabi, the National Assembly member of Latrikunda Sabeji, Yaya Menteng Sanyang, the Honorable Councillor Ansumana Bayo, the fire chief, the market committee members and the market president, the market manager and other members. We did establish that indeed is not a market property, but then again it is still Gambians who have lost their property and we sympathize with them dearly. From there we invited them to the Carnifing Municipal Council to my office, where we met them and we discussed areas and means where we could intervene along with the National Disaster Management Authority or agency. We also established that the market committee of Latrikunda Sabeji will work with the market management to look at and review the wiring in that particular market, because based on eyewitness accounts, it was caused by a spark. The next fire happened soon after, on Monday, 30th March 2025, which was the day after the Korite celebration, this Korite feast, and this was at Serakunda Sandika. It happened around 2:30 a.m. I was again called by the DCP and also I verified with the market manager. I woke up and left my residence. At 4 a.m. I drove myself to the market while the fire service was there to see what was happening. And indeed, I did witness the disaster. 12 sheds, or in our local language, mbars, were damaged along with millions of dollars of goods. Those sheds particularly house many vendors at any point in time, so several vendors up to about 40 or 50 suffered losses, the value of which is in the millions. With both disasters, we invited the Sandika people. They left my office a few days back, and again we established what was damaged and who was affected. But I have several people I want to thank, and of course starting with the Gambia Fire Services. Whenever we call them, they do respond, and they do their best with the equipment they have. So we thank them for their sacrifice. I also want to thank the market manager Modu Njai and his team for their effort to always ensure that our markets are safe. I also want to thank the municipal police led by Seni Sanyang for always being on call, because whenever these fires happen, they're always on the ground. Now, there's many people who I haven't mentioned, but of course I don't know their names. And these are the members of our community. Because in all these fires, along with the fire service, we have community members, especially youths, who come out in their numbers to try and also salvage what goods they can and protect lives. I also want to thank the press, because they're always there to cover these events, to update the general public. So thank you to those who are also here today. But let's thank Allah, because in all these events, we have not heard of any injuries or deaths, and that is the most important thing. We are here today to show that we are learning from some of these issues and reacting accordingly. We have taken several steps after those events, and we are going to continue to take measures to ensure we not only prevent fires, but also create standard infrastructure to ensure that even if they happen, they are mitigated and the damage is limited. As our Deputy Commissioner of Police said, under the leadership of the Commissioner of Police, Mr. Ibumbub, they will provide these fire extinguishers to people in the front line. Fire is time sensitive. The faster you can react to it, the more you can limit the damage. We are providing 44 fire extinguishers to 17 markets, 3 council installations, and to force responders. These extinguishers, well placed and with the right people, with the right training, will ensure if fires occur that they are handled effectively. Also, the council is reinforcing our markets. As the Commissioner of Police has rightly said, as of now we have 112 police and security officers stationed at our various markets. But we will increase their numbers and reinforce them with more officers. We will deploy 20 more officers to the various markets. Also, we have HG company led by Mr. Habib Jite, who's here present, who will train our officers to be fire marshals. He will train all our officers to know how to firefight and handle this equipment, and he will certify them. That training will start effective today. He will also go ahead and work with our municipal police office to do a risk assessment in all the council installations, especially our markets, to ensure that any risk is mitigated accordingly. We will also work with the National Water and Electricity Company, NAWEC, who are our dear neighbors. I know there's been a bit of a push and pull as to the cause of the fire. It is never KMC's intention to tarnish any institution's image. All the things that reported from KMC are from eyewitness accounts, because a thorough investigation has not yet been concluded. However, our directors have met with their NAWEC counterparts yesterday, Thursday, the 3rd of April, 2025, at the NAWEC headquarters, where they had a fruitful meeting. They have agreed on many important points. The most important point is that NAWEC and KMC will set up a task force. That task force will review all the illegal connections in our markets and ensure that these illegal connections are disconnected and done properly. They will also ensure that going forward, this task force will also train KMC electricians on how to mitigate wiring problems in these markets. Of course, I cannot go without acknowledging that the President, the head of state, has visited the Sandika. I would have personally liked to be there, but just to put the record straight, KMC was not informed officially. I was not informed officially of his visit. It is never our intention to have the President visit any of our installations without me, the head of the region, and the mayor of the council being on the ground. So we urge them moving forward to ensure there's effective communication sent in a timely manner to the council, so the head of the municipality, in my person, will be on the ground to receive him and also give the council's perspective. Nevertheless, when we heard the information informally, we contacted some of our councillors who were close to the area. The business councillor, MC Cham Jr., was on hand to receive the head of state. The councillor of Bakote, Lamin Jemme, who also doubles as the chairman of the markets committee, was on hand. The deputy commissioner of police, Seni Sanyang, was on hand. Modu Njai, the market manager, was on hand. And I think they did an amazing job in making sure the head of state was made abreast with the issues revolving around the incident. However, I must also register my disappointment in some of the ministers. I've heard their comments, and some of the political operatives. Fire cannot be politicized. Damage to Gambians cannot be politicized. This is not a party issue, it's a national issue. When there's a disaster, what we must do is put our politics aside, put partisanship aside, and come together as Gambians to solve the problem. Come together as leaders to help our people. But nevertheless, KMC will continue to work with all stakeholders, including the Gambia government and its agencies, the head of state himself and the office of the president to ensure we continuously improve market infrastructure to ensure our citizens sell in a safe manner. I want to end by saying to the victims, we are doing everything we humanly can to ensure that moving forward, they can go back to their business as soon as possible to feed their families and to help their loved ones. Also, I must note, the Sandika, especially in Serakunda, which is a council property, cannot continue to be where it is. The area is congested, it is by a hospital, the access routes are very thin, and we know there are large trucks coming all the way from Guinea-Conakry trying to access the Sandika. So in our meeting, we have agreed with the Sandika Union or the Sandika Association of Serakunda that we will move the Sandika outside of the vicinity of Serakunda. Sandika should not follow customers, customers should follow the Sandika. Yesterday, we had a tour, joint tour with the Sandika Association, and they have already reviewed sites, and they have agreed that now the council and them will join hands to build a new Sandika. Without further ado, I thank everyone. I wish them a very happy Korite, and I pray for you. May Allah make our country safe, peaceful, and prosper. Thank you.
Thank you. Solution Mayo.
Thank you.
Solution Mayo. Solution Mayo.
From here, we will entertain Q&A from the journalists. Please kindly introduce yourself and media house you represent. Thank you. Mayor.
You know, rec promote solution. You know, rec promote
Your name and media house, please.
Any questions?
Yes.
Yes.
Jane.
Yeah, so thank you very much. My name is Mitigation, reporter presenter for LC Community. So my question is, the Minister of Agriculture has alleged that the main reason or the causes of the outbreak is as to the lack of effective waste disposal collection, led to the losses of a huge amount of money, for the people that are working. What would be your response to this assumption made by agriculture?
All right, thank you for the question. I think I try to generalize because I don't like to pinpoint people and talk about negative comments. I believe when there's a disaster, we should talk about constructive activities we will do or steps we will make. What is expected from the Minister of Agriculture and all ministers and all government is how do they sympathize with the people who are affected, and how do they join hands with the council to ensure these things don't happen again. The government themselves have released a statement that they're going to do an investigation. So I don't know how a minister can preempt what caused the fire. We have had eyewitness accounts, as we have said in our press statements, that that was not the cause of the fire. But then again, like I said, we had a fruitful meeting with NAWEC about how can we be constructive about this. Secondly, we want to remind the minister, he has a big portfolio in agriculture, and people in the agriculture sector are suffering, and I think he should focus on that. Secondly, there was a big fire disaster that happened at the Navy installation. 2 officers have lost their lives. KMC did not come out and blame any minister or blame the Ministry of Defense or blame the president. I released a statement sympathizing with the families of the soldiers. I released a statement sympathizing with the Gambia Armed Forces, because that's how we should be during disasters. Nobody lost their lives at KMC, at any of our markets. So I think in times of disaster, we should come together rather than looking for cheap political points. So like I said, I will say it again. We register our disappointment in the said minister's comments, and we think he should retract it and apologize to just not us, but to the victims of this fire.
Yes. Your name and media house.
Good morning. My name is Dr. Patel from the party. May we also extend our sympathy to the victims of this fire incident. In your statement, you didn't give us any specific. I'm sure you have done an investigation. would like to know how many millions estimate that you have already qualified.
Thank you for that question. So we have had indicative figures, but like I said, the National Disaster Management Agency are doing investigation, and they are trying to establish the exact figures. I don't want to preempt them. I think the responsible thing for everybody is to wait for these reports from the experts, and then we can now come and say, this is exactly how much has been lost. We have heard that it's in the millions, but I cannot say that for sure until we get a report from the National Disaster Management Agency after they have interviewed the victims so that we can establish the exact figure.
You cannot give us at this point, like, when you say million, it could be 2 million.
Well, okay, let me put it this way. When we met the victims, some said 15 million, some said 20 million. But, I mean, these are just assumptions. I think what should be done is to wait until the National Disaster Management Agency. We have a representative here at the council, Ngany, who said he's interviewing the victims, and once he finishes his report, he will send us a copy. But what we also want to always advocate, fire is a fact of life. And fires can happen at any point in time to anybody. Fire does not discriminate. All one can do is to take preventive measures. But every person who has especially valuable items, even items that are not valuable, should seek fire insurance. Fire insurance indemnifies people from damages like this. Because when you have a loss or your house burns, it will be very difficult to get compensation or help from anybody, because these are personal effects. So that's why fire insurance is available. So I would ask all people in the market, I will ask everybody who can afford it to seek fire insurance.
Who else? Any other question? Or you have a follow-up question?
Now, looking at the situation here, I'm sure the country is also collecting expected from this market vendors.
Revenue, you mean?
Revenue from the market vendors. So, what is your short-term plan to ensure that these are mitigated and to have long-term goals of relocating the center?
So for us, revenue is not our priority. Our priority is the safety of people in our market. When the people are safe and they are in a conducive environment, revenue comes secondary. And remember, the council collects revenue to provide services. So if the people are not doing well, then we are not interested in the revenue. But like I said, we have a good plan on the ground and we'll execute it in the coming months, and the media will be updated as we execute our projects to improve markets. I also want to make it a point. In 2018, when we came into office, we had identified 7 markets around the municipality that we wanted to develop. And we had put this in a project document with a BOQ and requested from the Ministry of Lands to provide us with our title deeds, along with 40 other properties, including even this building. To date, after 5 years, not a single title has been released to the council. So we want to urge the ministry. This is not politics. This is about the welfare of Gambians and people in the Kanifing municipality. Let them provide us these title deeds ASAP so that council can go ahead and build more market infrastructure for people of the municipality. Today we see, for example, Operation Clear the Roads happening. People who are on the street trying to feed their families. They are selling fried food. They are selling fruits. They are selling groundnuts. They are doing petty trade just to take something to their home to feed their children, pay their school fees, pay for their rent. If government had given us our title, by now we would have put up enough market infrastructure. So when you tell somebody, get off this corner, you can tell them, go into that shop. But it was politicized. And now look what is happening. Every day, people's lives are being destroyed through Operation Clear the Roads. We are not saying that the exercise should not happen. We are saying that Gambia is a poor country. Government should work with the council. The president said it. But we hope it's not just lip service, it's in practice. Effectively work with the council so we can build more market infrastructure. So when we are trying to clear our streets, so our municipality is organized, we can put people in safe areas so they can make an income for their family. Okay, thank you so much. Huh?
I have a final follow-up question that I want to raise. With regards to your meeting with NAVEC, to how best to work together closely as two institutions about the occurrence of this on in the market. What proactive measures are you putting on the ground? Because sometimes people will attempt to give ceasefire to poor electricity, poor fixing of electricity within the market. What quick proactive measures are you putting in place in order to avoid future occurrence?
Okay, during my deliberation, I already answered that question. I said NAWEC and KMC have agreed to set up a task force. That task force will mitigate illegal wiring in markets. But going forward, that task force will also train KMC personnel and electricians about how to do effective wiring in markets. So that was already a point that we agreed with NAWEC during the meeting. All right, thank you so much. Juma Mubarak. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Shane, well done.